Great. Welcome to today's conversation. True Northers, once again, we're talking about the professional to the professional, and we are going to have another interesting conversation around psychology, the practice, the person, our world, our nation, and everything to do with that. Karibu.
Asante sana.
I wondered if the first place you would want to begin with is introducing yourself.
Okay, so my name is Kaye Alianda Makuku Makalwin. I have several names, about 7 of them, but I like to go under Kaye Alianda. So I'm practicing psychology, trained as a professional counselor. I've been in the field for like 4 years now, and continuing to grow in it and to learn. So I'm really excited by this conversation. I had no idea what I was jumping into, but I'm always one to try new things, and particularly because I'd read about your True North. I like the name. You probably have to tell me why that name. And I did like the work you were doing, so I feel really honored and privileged that you picked me.
Thank you.
All right.
I guess the thing that stands out for me about you is the language, because I know you're one of the few professionals in this area of mental health that conducts your sessions in some other language besides English. Tell me a little bit about that, the history of that, where it's coming from, perhaps the first time you ever had to use it, and what your general view is about the delivery of counseling in the language of the client, or the language that the client best understands.
Actually, that's very important, because language is everything. Language is communication. Talk therapy uses language to communicate. I mean, there are other modalities that use, the somatic modalities that don't necessarily use words. But the language comes in for me. I love language, I love words. I studied language. I was a language teacher. I used to teach French. I trained as a French teacher, so I used to teach French to high school. I also used to teach literature and English, so also words.
Yes.
Words. So words are everything, because, of course, body language as well is there. But if the tool of your trade is words, you need to be able to engage with the person that you're speaking to. And where I trained in South Africa, I trained in Johannesburg, which is sort of predominantly Zulu when you go to the local languages. So we actually had to take a module to speak Zulu, because we were being trained to work within communities, not so much the one-on-one counseling. So my approach to psychology is very much community-based. So yeah, I had to learn Zulu, because you're going to go into a community, and if you cannot relate, then you're really wasting your time. I mean, you can use an interpreter, but a lot is lost in translation. And never mind the issues of confidentiality and the client feeling safe. So when I first started practicing, because I worked in a public clinic which was open to everybody. So a lot of the people coming to the clinic were from the township, from under-resourced communities. So most of them didn't speak English. And because I'm Black, they would assume that I speak a local language. But trust me, I managed to communicate at least 50% of the words I could express. And so they realized, okay, you're not South African, but you are making an effort. And it really improved the relationship so much, as opposed to where already there's a language barrier, so that already creates that, there's no rapport that is established. And then with the French, I would get people from the DRC who didn't speak English, so immediately they knew you spoke French. They felt safer, and I think you know that in therapy the trust is like 80% of it. And Kiswahili as well. I work with anybody and everybody. You could be the first lady, you could be somebody's the guard somewhere, and when they see that you speak Swahili, they immediately get the confidence. So for me, language is everything, and I always strive to communicate in the language of the person, or at least the level or mix, so that you communicate effectively.
Yeah.